everybody, my name is BearCozy, and today we're playing some Awaken Chaos Era. If it's your first time here, I strive to make not only entertaining, but also educational videos, and I try to provide as much value in my videos as I can. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back, watching my videos, and supporting the channel. Today, what I want to do today, I want to talk about Tulpa, I want to do some daily summons, and then of course, I just noticed I'm at Magic Pass level 30. I want to grab my Hydrisia. So first things first, let's go ahead and grab the Hydrisia from the Magic Pass. And that is very cool. That'll also give me one shard. And that will give me some Stardust as well. So that is very, very cool. There we go. I got myself another copy of Hydrisia. She is really, really cool looking. Alright, so I'm happy there. Very, very happy with her. She's not built yet, but I'll take another one. Let's go ahead and do our daily summons, and then we'll talk about Tulpa. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know how we like to do it. I like to record my daily summons because I've gotten some really good pulls off the daily summons. I just got my second Gangalo, which was absolutely amazing. I got a Sierra, I got a Hydrisia, and I got a bunch of epics that right now I haven't really built, but they are there. So let's go ahead and pull. I will build them when I need them and as my resources come up a little bit. As I acquire more resources, I will continue to build more heroes. All right, let's go ahead and pull. So the first pull is Rodira. Yeah, if you've seen my other videos, you know I can't pull any other healer other than Rodira, and that is very, very unfortunate. I think this is my 13th or my 14th copy of her, so she's fully built and maxed out, and I don't need any more, and I don't want any more. Let's go ahead and pop one more just for fun. Hopefully this one will be something good. Vidar is pretty good. Actually, I'll take another Vidar. That's not too bad. I believe he is for one of the synthesis, and that's pretty cool. I actually don't have enough of him. I only have 2 shards left. I'm going to save them for the next video. All right. So what I want to talk about today primarily is a Tulpa. Now, I know most of the content creators are making new videos on Hell Stages 1 and 2. Some of them have really good gear and they can complete it. Some of them cannot. I personally cannot, even though I still like to make content. Right now, I just cannot complete any of the Hell Stages because I don't have the gear and I don't have the Ascensions. So today, what I want to talk about is Tulpa. Now, I know there's a lot of you, including a bunch of my friends, are still struggling in Tulpa 9, Tulpa 10. So what I want to talk about today is Tulpa 9 and 10. I want to break those down a little bit, give you some options for heroes. I want to run those, and in future videos, we will break down 11 and 12. As you can see, I cleared 11, I cleared 12. 12 was pretty tough. You do need quite a bit of damage in 12 to break the shield, and the timing has to be correct. So today, I want to break down 9 and 10. I know a few of my friends are stuck on Tulpa 9, Tulpa 10, Queen of Tides, and so on. So I want to go ahead and break these down. So first of all, I hope you know this. If you do not, there is a notepad on the right-hand side of the screen, right under the search glass, right under the search icon there. And if you click on the notepad, this will give you the most played formations of the teams, the most played teams, and the most successful. Now, Valeria is really, really good. I don't have her. But as you can see, Orakh, Asrina, and Connor are all free, and we can go ahead and use those. So if we hop into Stage 9 is fairly easy. Now, I do have Connor, I have Zatlux, I have Asrina, and I have Siress, who are all free, and if you're running a free-to-play team and a free-to-play account, you can actually get these all from the Covenant. Now, my Asrina has really bad gear, my Zatlux has pretty good gear, and Siress has mediocre gear. And of course, Connor is only level 50, and he's primarily in speed gear. So let me put up the stats that I'm using right here. Now, as you can see, Zatlux does have good stats. You don't need these stats on Zatlux. These took me quite some time to get. But as you can see, Asrina doesn't really have very good stats. And if we look at her gear after the run, she's got some very, very subpar gear. But this is the best I can do for now, and we're just going to run with it. Also, as you can see, for spells, I am using Last Breath and I'm using Gaia's Renewal. Last Breath we are not going to need for 9 and 10, most likely because 9 and 10 are fairly easy. I do also have Gurel. I just pulled a Gurel off stream a couple of days ago. That was off stream late at night. I end up pulling a couple of shards that I got from one of the achievements or something like that. I pulled 2 shards and I got Gurel. So that was very, very cool. I built him. he doesn't have any gear, so he will be very, very useful in this. But right now, he doesn't have any gear, and I just don't have enough gear to go around. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about 9. We'll start with 9. So the team that I'm running here is Connor, who is going first. And then we have Siress going next. And then we're going to have Zatlux going. And then, of course, Asrina is going to be going last. She is primarily built for attack because she does ignite, I think. She has ignite damage, and her ignite damage scales off of attack. So right now in 9, I think I have enough damage to just go straight for the boss. Now, of course, most of them, I attack the ad on the right first, since the ad on the right does increase the Tulpa's attack by 200%, I believe, and then your team actually takes a lot more damage. So ideally, in harder situations, depending on how much damage your team can put out, you want to kill the ad on the right so he doesn't buff the boss. But 9, I believe I can just go straight for the boss. We're going to kill him. And as you can see, this is a very free-to-play team. Now, I did fuse Siress in the last video, in one of my last videos. And of course, Connor is extremely easy to get. So he is free. Asrina's free. Siress takes a little bit of work since you do need Hakrin and you do need Santis. But Siress is fusible as well. So this is a free-to-play team. So 9 is fairly easy. We're going to go into Tulpa 10, but first let's take a look at the gear and let's take a look at the stats actually. Now, if you look at the battle report, Siress did the most damage followed by Asrina, and Asrina is actually missing some gear, so Asrina is going to be doing a lot more damage as her gear comes up. Now, I know from the official Ace Discord, most people have told me that Asrina is very bad, and I'm actually finding her pretty good, and I would tend to disagree with them. I think Asrina depends on the gear that you can put on her, and it depends on the content you're using her in. So let's go and take a look at her gear, shall we? Alright, starting with Asrina, these are her glyphs. Some of them are maxed out, some of them are not. I'm still working on them, but she's not my priority. I'm working on them very slow. Also, as you can see, I pulled a few copies of her, so she has ascended a couple of times, so that does help. After I completed the Covenant and got my first Asrina, I ended up pulling a couple more copies. So why not go ahead and ascend her? Now, if we look at her gear, you can see her gear, her boots are leveled all the way, and her weapon is up to 12. Now, she is in attack boots, but they are only 5-star, so they do max out at 38%. As you can see, her ring is only 7, her necklace is only 6, and the helmet and the chest are 12. So right now, I have her in attack ring and in an attack necklace, primarily because if we look at her kit, Ignite deals damage based on this caster's attack. So she does need a little bit of focus and as much attack as you could give her. Now, if we look at her info, her attack is 4,200, and that is because I have her in a lot of attack. Most of the gear is attack, and she doesn't have much of anything else. She is pretty slow. Her crit rate is at 50%. You really don't need to max her out. If you can, that's great, but you don't need to max her out. Her skills work based off of her attack. And of course, she does need some focus to land. Now, as you can see, focus is fairly low, but for Tulpa 9 and 10, that will be enough. That is her gear. As you can see, there is lots of room to improve. And I also have her in 3 warrior sets to get some extra attack, so she can do that much needed damage. So when the gear enhancement event comes up, I am going to be rolling this ring here and this necklace. This ring hopefully will continue to roll good, and then the necklace rolling all the way up. We'll see if I can find a better necklace. The substats are kind of okay, but I'll roll it another time and see what happens there. It is 6-star, so I don't want to give up on it too early. So after rolling those, hopefully 215, that will help her do a lot more damage. So that was Tulpa 9. Let's go into Tulpa 10. Going into it, now there are some options. You can use Asrina, as I've mentioned. You can use Siress. If you don't have Siress, the options are Garel. My Garel is not geared, but he is very, very good in this dungeon. The other option here, if you have Gangelo, you can use Gangelo. I have used Gangelo for a while, so you can use Gangelo there. You can also use Orakh. Most of my dungeon runs, I have used Orakh, and he is working really, really well for me. Also, if you have anybody better than Connor, if you have Brand, you can take Connor out and you can use Brand. Now, my Brand's gear is just kind of lackluster. It's just there. I put on whatever I had to just give him some HP to provide the shield. So right now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going in with Zatlux, Asrina, and Orakh. If you don't have this team, you can always use Zatlux and replace him with Garel or Siress or anybody you have. I personally like Zatlux. He is very easy to get. He's easy to gear because he only requires 70% crit rate, so he's very easy to get, and it's a lot easier to push crit damage on him than it is on some of the other heroes. So this is the team. I can take or leave Asrina. Let's go ahead and use Siress. We're going to use Brand, Zatlux, Siress, and Orakh. For spells, you can either use Last Breath if your team is dying, or if your team is doing well, you can use Sundering Purgatory. And then since Brand doesn't really heal, I like to use Gaia's Renewal in Tulpa 11 and 12 because I really need it there. So let's just leave the Last Breath there. So let's go into Tulpa 10. Now, as you can see, Siress is the fastest. Her base speed is actually very quick. Then I have my Orakh going, and I did that because at the time when I was putting this team together, Zatlux was not strong enough to kill all of the enemies by himself, all of the waves. Now this is Tulpa 10, so he will clear them. He can clear them in Tulpa 11 now as well, all the way. So if you're using Zatlux, and if he's not strong enough to clear the waves by himself, try using him going second or going third or going last if you have to, and that will help him. That will speed up your run, and that will help him to clear them as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and target the elite on the right. We're going to kill him, and then we're going to go straight for the boss. So right now, I have the damage to go straight for the boss. However, the timing is off. Orakh does a lot of damage on his ultimate because his ultimate scales off the enemy max HP. But the other two skills don't do too much damage. And what I've noticed from playing this and testing this is if I don't kill the ad on the right first, if I go straight for the boss, Orakh's ultimate is actually off of time from Tulpa's shield, and he uses his ultimate right before the shield. And then sometimes what happens is we are unable to break the shield because his ultimate is on cooldown. So by killing the ad on the right, this should line up and the timing should work. And his ultimate should reset right at the right time when Tulpa uses a shield. And of course, you have 2 turns. If you did not know, you have 2 turns to break his shield. Tulpa will put up a shield on himself when his health is under 50%. He should do that now. There we go. There goes the shield. You can see the shield is pretty big. So what we do is keep an eye on the swirling stones around him. And when he puts up the shield, the stones are blue. On the first turn that your team has to take the shield off, the stones will turn yellow. And on the very last turn, which is the second turn that you need to completely clear the shield, the stones will turn red. And then, of course, you need a lot of damage for this. So as you could see there, Siress taking the shield off. And then Zatlux coming in. And Orakh should finish him off or get very close to it. He's at 28%. So there we go. Down to 7. That was a ton of damage. And then, of course, Brand is going to buff up. So on the second turn, if you don't clear the shield, Tulpa will actually blow up and do anywhere from 30 to 60,000 damage to your team, depending on the stage you're running. And that is true damage. Of course, that ignores all of the shields and everything else. So there's the run. Let's take a look at how they did. So as you can see, Siress on Ascended actually does the most damage, which is very, very surprising because the gear is subpar. Orakh is a single target damage dealer. His trait does chain to other enemies sometimes, but primarily his ultimate is what you're using him for, and he's very, very good to break Tulpa's shield. And of course, Zatlux is here just to clean up the wave. So let's go look at their gear. We'll talk a little bit about their gear. So that was 9 and 10. As you can see, I got 10k health on Siress, and that actually works. Defense is pretty low, only at 1,000, but the crit rate is at 100%. Crit damage is very, very low, so there is lots of room to improve there. In my opinion, anytime a damage-dealing hero is under 200% crit damage, that is pretty low, and that needs to come up. So focus, we of course don't need on Siress, and that is very low, and that is okay. Now, what makes Siress very good is the trait. She is right now unascended, but right now, every 2 turns, her abilities affect 1 extra target, and it can affect up to 4 enemies. That does take a few turns to get going, but that does stack up to 4 enemies. Now, the amazing thing about Siress is the special deals 150% damage to an enemy. For every enemy hit with this ability, it grants 1 stack of ability immunity. So she actually grants immunity to herself, nullifying a lot of the damage, which is very, very nice, making her very tanky and giving her a ton of survivability. Glyphs are almost there. I do have to do some more farming. And we looked at her stats, and here's her gear. Her gear is okay. I do have her in a rage set and a warrior set just to make sure she does have 100% crit rate and as much damage as I could. You could see some of the gear is rolled up, some of the gear is not. I do have her in attack boots as well. Now, Siress right now is using Antanua's gear, so I have been swapping the gear back and forth when I need Antanua for clan boss and other things. But luckily, swapping gear is free. Orakh is doing okay. Most of his gear is 12, 13. His helmet is actually 4-star, but I kept it because it rolled twice on crit rate, and I wanted to get his crit rate maxed out. His crit rate is maxed, and his crit damage is at 182, and his focus is very low. So this is just mediocre gear, and I'm still working on better gear. I know a lot of you are working on gear just like me. I'm still working on acquiring better gear, and I'm being very picky on what I want to roll. 215. But I am making good progress. So as I go, I'm going to continue acquiring better gear, and hopefully my heroes will be tankier and do a lot more damage. So that was Tulpa 10, and as I've mentioned, you have lots of different options here. You can run Gangelo and you can run Santis if you choose to. I know lots of people do, but in my opinion, if you don't have very good gear, you will most likely need Santis's A5 because that will affect her trait. And unfortunately, you have to get her ascended to 5 stars. So there is lots of options. I do run Rodira in 11. My current team, if we look at my current team for 11 that I made a while back, my current team is Gangelo, Zatlux, Orakh, and Rodira. But since I've fused Siress, I've taken Gangelo out. I've been using Siress, and this is working really, really well for me. So there are lots of options. I do have Garel as well. He is not geared, and I'm looking forward to the gear enhancement event so I can finally gear Garel. There are lots of options here. You have free-to-play heroes you can pick from the Covenant. There are also lots of other heroes that you can use like Garel and anything in between. So as I always say, use what you have and experiment with what you have. Find something that works and try different combinations out. There are lots of other heroes available that I just don't have, and as I acquire more heroes, I will test them. So there you have it. There is a Tulpa 9 and Tulpa 10 guide. I hope this was helpful. This was half guide and half progression video. You know I like to make account progress videos. So if this was helpful, leave me a nice comment down below. Hit the thumbs up to help the video reach more people like you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button to help my channel grow. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.